The Dark Zone. It's a grueling gauntlet of frustration and anguish that brings to light the opportunistic impulses residing in the most primeval regions of the human mind. And it's really fun. The Division's Dark Zone is a place where anything goes, and where the best gear in the game is waiting to be claimed by those crafty enough to earn it. But you don't need to venture into the Dark Zone blind. Here are 7 ways to dominate the Dark Zone. While the NPCs do drop loot and DZ funds, you'll find your progress painfully slow if you never kill another player. Being the White Knight of the Dark Zone is a pleasant notion, but success in this place is defined by a multitude of strategies and not a single overarching theme. If you find that fate has presented you with an opportunity, you should take it. And most of the time, this opportunity comes in the form of going rogue. You'll receive DZ funds for landing the killing blow on another player and for running down your rogue agent timer to 0. But don't lash out at just anyone. Ensure that you are more or less alone and have your exit in mind. Because once you open fire, literally everyone can and will kill you. But shooting first has its perks, which leads us to our next tip. It's no secret at this point that players in the Division can be bullet sponges, which isn't entirely a bad thing, as it gives the gank E time to react and retaliate. But when it comes time to be the aggressor, you need to front load as much damage as possible. Incendiary and explosive shells are nice, but nothing seals your target's fate like being hit with a grenade. Aside from the obvious effects, many grenades have the added benefit of preventing the victim from sprinting, making their best option, escape, an impossibility. Once hit with a grenade, retaliation is very difficult, but be warned, throwing a grenade quite literally telegraphs your intentions, and with a relatively long fuse time, the wary opponent can dodge roll out and counterattack.
Neutralized.
The majority of my time in the Dark Zone was spent in isolation, and while it certainly led to some interesting interactions, if you're looking for DZ cash, you'll want to bring a friend. Or 3, to be exact. The instance nature of the Division means that barring pickup groups or blind matchmaking luck, there will never be more than 4 friends terrorizing the Dark Zone at any given time, which is a good thing. But the Dark Zone is as much a game about numbers as it is about gear and skill, so having a few friends to fall back on and revive you is a huge advantage. Unfortunately, you can't always have the upper hand in every situation, and when your stint as the cat ends, your time as the mouse begins. Whether you've gone rogue or attracted the ire of one, running away is rarely a bad move in the Dark Zone. The Division's short supply of crowd control effects means that sprinting and rolling make you difficult to kill, and the ability to heal on the fly makes you all but invincible, unless you're flanked, or outnumbered, or run into NPCs. But if you observe tip number 5, that shouldn't happen. When you select a destination in the Division, the GPS doesn't take into account subways, scaffolds, alleys, and all manner of other shortcuts. It's up to you as the player to familiarize yourself with your surroundings and keep in mind your best exit route at any given time. The subway that spans DZ01 and 02 is a great place to start. It's a labyrinth that can lead your pursuers in a circle, but most importantly, will place your rogue agent icon at below street level, which is an immediate deterrent for most players because who even knows how to get down there? The more funds you accrue, the more you lose on death, which means that saving up for the most expensive item first can burn you if you start to lose engagements with players who have been spending more liberally. And while this is ultimately up to your own personal preference, spending DZ funds at the Dark Zone vendors located at any outpost is an easy way to bank your progress without fear of losing any more. And it's worth noting that each vendor has a different stock than their competitors. Finally, the golden rule of any open-world survival shooter rings true in the Dark Zone. Never trust anyone. The easiest target is a static one, and trusting players tend not to move around. Keep in mind that just because a player didn't kill you in the past, it doesn't mean that they won't kill you in the future. If you present other players with a golden opportunity for an easy and big win, most will take it. Move around, roll, make it hard for them to open up their gank, especially at chopper extractions. Well, that does it for our list of Dark Zone domination tips. What lessons have you learned from your time in the Dark Zone? Let us know in the comments, and for all things The Division, keep it right here on IGN.